The Shepnaz Podcast begins now.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Shepnaz Podcast. As always, it is your host, Pastor Zack. Happy to be here for everybody's favorite day in the middle of the week.
Worship Wednesday.
I did preface it. I forgot to preface the last time I did that, and they were like, what is happening? So, welcome in, man. If anybody is watching or listening, we just want to say welcome in. And on this Worship Wednesday, as you've experienced, we are trying some new stuff on Worship Wednesday. And so we'll be interviewing some people that I just think are really awesome people and people that I think bring huge value, not only to worship ministry, but the church as a whole. And so that is why I brought in my good friend, the one and only Brian Redman. Woo! Bring in the cheers. Well, welcome in, my friend.
Good to be here,
Dude,
Zack.
Thank you so much, man. And I just want to give you a shout out. If you don't know Brian is... What is your official title? I don't want to mistitle you.
Yeah, it's worship pastor, creative arts director.
Perfect
stuff. It's a lot like you.
Perfect. Yes, and I've learned from you, and that's a reason. And you are currently serving at Newark Church in Nazarene, Newark Naz. Which, funny enough, and the reason I know you is my introduction into the Church of the Nazarene, first time ever, was at Newark Naz.
That's right. How old were you then?
Oh boy, I was 16 or 17, I believe, something like that. Because we were kind of in the middle of transition from the church I grew up in, and so we left the church I grew up in and I followed the youth pastor to another church called More Life, and was part of More Life for a while until Mom and Dad started going to Newark Naz, and they were talking about how much they loved it. And so they drugged me along begrudgingly one Sunday.
Who was the youth pastor when you came? Was it Sean?
It was Sean.
Yeah.
Yep, it was Sean. I think Sean and was it Jason was there
Grady.
at one point?
Yeah.
Yep. It was down in the basement in that little blue room.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking and I didn't know anybody. And you know how that is as like a 16, 17-year-old. And granted, as a 16 or 17-year-old, I was an terrible person. I was making terrible life choices. I was probably high as a kite when I walked in there. And so I'm like, I don't know anybody.
I mean, you had a reputation, Zack.
It was not a good one. I know that for a fact. It was not good. It was not good.
No.
But only by the grace of God.
No, man. No, we saw all the potential. And yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Well, the reason you're here, my friend, is because you are the worship pastor, and you have been. How long have you been at Newark Naz?
Oh my goodness! All right, so I was hired part time in '94.
Nice.
And then in 2000, they hired me full time. Mm-hmm. So I've been full time for 26 years.
That's
there.
awesome.
So I think what is it though? Like 30, is it 32 though total?
That sounds good. That sounds good. Math.
Yeah.
You know my reputation. Yeah. I'm not math. There's a lot of holes in this brain up here, man. That's awesome. Well, so I guess tell me your story. And tell me as much as you want to share. I don't want you to feel like you have to air out all your dirty laundry on the podcast. But I'm always curious, like what brought you into worship ministry? What made you even want to do that? Were you doing something different before? Tell me your journey.
So I was born in Newark.
Hey.
So I haven't really ventured too far from my hometown, but
Newark, born and bred, baby.
I actually grew up in Newark and grew up at Newark Naz.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's cool.
So that's my home church.
Awesome.
Went to Mount Vernon. Majored in communication, took all these music classes as a minor, ended up like loving the music part of it so much. One of my profs said, hey, if you just stayed an extra semester, you could double major. Did that, met Carolyn, got married right after I graduated from Mount Vernon, went to Ohio State, got my master's in vocal pedagogy. And so I'm going to be, in my mind, I'm going to work part-time at a church where I can do legit music with Bach preludes and an organ, and like it won't be Nazarene because we're still singing "What a Mighty God You Say We Serve."
Right.
And so I ended up teaching at it's Ohio Christian now. It was Circleville Bible College, and taught at Denison, and at the same time I got hired on at Newark Naz. But before that, when I was still working at Mount Vernon, I ended up doing what is it? The Wesleyan Church in Newark.
Oh, yep. It's right there on 21st.
I did that for a year
Okay.
as music, and I was part-time music and youth.
Yep.
For 1 year. Then I went to Worcester.
Oh, nice.
And did that for 3 years, just music. Then Newark hired me, and I was doing the whole teaching thing full-time at Ohio Christian, part-time at Denison, part-time at Newark Naz.
Oh, Jesus.
I know.
You were a busy boy. Good Lord.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
So in the meantime, I'm still really doing a lot of classical music and just loving, just really, I just feel like that my eyes were open to a whole different kind of scene.
Right.
Because I grew up in the 80s, loved pop music.
Yeah.
I just loved everything,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I remember, though, when I went to OSU for my master's in the 90s, it's like I just started listening to classical music, and there's a whole decade of the 90s where I don't know any music on the radio.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I know that feeling. It's like there's a time where I'm like, I don't remember what was happening then. Like I was just busy doing other things. You know? Just
Exactly.
focusing on one thing. And that's funny.
So we're doing church 94, and it's really traditional, and I'm doing my thing, and then we got a new pastor that came in 99. His name is R.D. Saunders, and he is now the new president at Ohio Christian.
Yeah. I was going to say, I know that name.
Yeah. So he changed my life and our church's life, and he just challenged us to do church in a different way. He sort of got this reawakening. Something happened, and we ended up just doing church for people who don't go to church,
Right.
Which meant changing a lot of the tradition and moving into a band. And I had not really done a band. I could do choir, I could do orchestra, but I thought, okay, music's music. And I remember RD, he wanted to hire me full time, and he said, we want to change what we're doing. And I'm like, he's like, are you on board? And I'm saying yes. And in my mind, I'm like, man, I don't want to do this.
Right.
So I just remember struggling and just really sort of fighting it out with God, saying, what do you want me to do? If you want me to do this, I want to be all in.
Yeah.
And if that means not ever doing another hymn or not doing anything from Messiah, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like, I'll do whatever you want me to do.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing to say and do.
Yeah. And it really was this big, gigantic change. And we just started learning like modern worship stuff back in 2000.
Right.
So, and then the church just exploded, and we ended up doing this whole thing where through Ginghamsburg United Methodist Church was a big deal, like as far as a model for us, and Michael Slaughter and Kim Miller. And we sort of follow their model with worship design and designing a service around a theme, metaphors, just with a lot of intentionality from the beginning to the end. The whole service is cohesive. Yeah. And that sort of got I loved that creativity and I liked the pace because I'm actually procrastinator.
Yeah.
So
most of us creatives are.
Yeah.
It's just a thing. Sorry, guys. You're getting it.
True. But just every week there was something new, and you had this deadline you had, and it really pushed me, and it kept things fresh instead of just because every week felt new.
Yeah.
And honestly, like we're still doing that. It's definitely not as strict. I mean, it's a lot more mellow as far as
right.
But that creativity and that doing something new all the time has kept, I think, this longevity of being at Newark Naz and the people, loving the people and loving your boss. Like that's important
it's
too.
Huge. Yep, that's huge. Yep, it's a game changer. I know, especially like when I was at Grove City, and this is not a diss on Grove City because they're the ones that helped me get to where I'm at now, and they taught me so much. There's so many different people there, and I had so many different roles that I had a lot of bosses, and not that I disliked any of them, but
it's more personality, like it's sort of how you interact and get along and sort of learn them.
Yep.
And when you have somebody that you just are like you mesh, It's a blessing.
It's a game changer.
It is. I'm
100%.
sorry I interrupted you.
No,
though.
you're fine. I'm just saying I totally know that feeling because I've worked with people who either are very too similar to myself to where it's like we butt heads because we think too similarly, or it's the total opposite where it's like, very red energy of like, nope, get in, get done. And I'm like, no, let's think about this. Like, what if we painted a picture about this? And like, we don't give a crap about your artsy fartsy stuff. So yeah, having somebody who's your leader that you can trust in and connect with changes the game.
Yeah.
So, okay, I have so many questions about that specifically because, and then we can move on. Sorry, but I wanted to hit it while we're here. When I came on staff here at Shepherd, we went through a very similar change. So there was 3 services when I came on. We had a very traditional liturgical service that at the time I didn't have any hand in. And then we had 2 quote unquote contemporary worship services. And we noticed that it was kind of creating this divide where it was, we had the traditional church and then they rubbed shoulders a little bit with the young people, and the young people kind of knew who the old people were and they crossed paths, and that was it. And we noticed that like, this isn't working. We don't want 2 churches in the building. And so we went through a change where we did away with the traditional service as a whole. And I think a lot of people would argue that we didn't meld the 2 as much as people would want. We went far more contemporary than we did. But I love that you had said that it was reaching people that don't go to church.
Yeah.
I think that, to me, is the goal. I love that we have a church and that people come and it's comfortable and, this is what they've grown up in. But the mission's not to keep a bunch of Christians happy.
Exactly.
It's to get people into the kingdom.
It's the 99 and 1. And so that was the big, which is sort of the big thing right now with
Right.
In our district.
Yep.
But that was RD's number 1 stump speech. Like it was our mission. It's that we are to go out and get the lost one. Right. And that church, in a sense, isn't about us. It's about us loving each other. It's about us serving. It's about being second. It's not about our preferences.
Right.
So that was obviously it made a lot of people mad.
Right.
Right. But and what's funny, and then a lot of people left and went to the Baptist church on 30th Street, and but God just began bringing in not only he brought in some other church people that I think we needed to have stability to be able to disciple. Yep. But it brought in so many people that were unchurched.
Yes.
It was wonderful. Brought in the Zaborskis. Yeah.
That's how we came about, man.
Exactly. So
100%.
Who was there? Was it Wes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Wes was the pastor there. Yep. And yeah, I remember that feeling because we had been through, there. I don't know all the details because I was pretty young, but I know there was a pretty significant event that happened in the church I grew up in that really kind of rocked our family. That was like, this is what we grew up in. This is what we know. This is comfortable. And then this event happened. It was like, oh crap, what do we do? Yeah. Like, where do we go? What do we believe? And so I remember when we came into Newark Naz, it was like, it felt like home. Like it felt like, one, it was a legit place that was like teaching solid theology. Like we believe in what this is, what we're being taught. But also it was like, I don't feel judged here. I don't feel like, listen, for any church to accept Zack Zaborski at 16 or 17, you're not a judgy church.
That's funny because I remember growing up at Newark Naz, as a kid, as a teenager, especially as a teenager, I just started to realize like, man, like the church is different in the sense of, I felt like there was a church personality and then there was just like a regular personality. And I remember even feeling like when you come in, you have to put something on. Right. And I remember, I just remember there were these older people that they called the saints. And I would hear them talk and watch their attitudes and think they are the meanest people. Right. Not everybody. Right. But I just remember it did not make sense to me. And then when RD came and sort of a lot of the negative, like the dark cloud lifted, some people left. And I remember coming to work and walking through the door and not feeling like I had to be a different person.
Yes.
Like I'm just Brian, my sense of humor, my whatever. I'm taking it all in with me and feeling like this is real.
Yep.
And I think that has carried over. I would tell RD, like, thank you, because I think people feel that realness.
Yes.
There's an acceptance. I don't know. It's not like, hello, brother, hello, sister. It's
Right.
like, it's not like this.
How art thou this fine Sunday morning?
It's just we are who we are, and we love Jesus, and we're going to serve him.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
that's huge.
That just sort of made clicked in my head when you said that.
Well, that's huge. I mean, that's what church should be.
Yeah.
You know, I can't remember who it was that told me this, but like it really wrecked my world when they compared church to a hospital. And it was like, if the church is a hospital and it's filled with nothing but doctors who know what they're doing and they've got it all together, it's not a successful hospital.
Yeah.
Like it needs patience.
Yeah.
And like, I consider myself a patient, you know, even though I'm a ordained elder in the Church of the Nazarene. It's like,
congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Was it last year?
Last year, yeah.
Okay,
It's
sorry.
weird. It's weird. I always crack up. I was talking to Jen Ballinger recently, and she's like, every time I see you up here, it's weird. And I was like, trust me, I know. I don't feel like I'm worthy to sit up here. But again, like that's also something I've loved about the Church of the Nazarene specifically. And granted, there's no such thing as a perfect church. There's no such thing as a perfect denomination. And there have been times, and I'm sure you've run into this too, because we're human, and those very old traditional Christians are human too, right? But you know, one thing that I learned when I was traveling with the band, like that was a big eye opener for me, is because we got to travel all around and go to every kind of church out there. And to realize and see with your eyes and experience with your heart, like who are churches that actually act and love like Jesus did, you know? And that's not just accepting every little thing that you did.
Right.
Here's what I loved about the church is when I was being an idiot, right? And I was making terrible life choices, the church still accepted me in, but they didn't let me stay there. You know, I'll share this story. It was so funny. I remember Mark Tinney specifically, and I was hiding a lot, you know, and at that time I was like getting off of drugs specifically, but I was still struggling with some stuff, and cigarettes were a thing for me. Like nicotine was the hardest thing for me to quit of all. And I remember I was smoking a cigarette driving down the road in my car thinking I'm good. And I must have passed Mark Tinney at some point. He saw me smoking a cigarette. And I remember he called me up. He's like, hey, dude, you want to go get coffee? And I was like, sure, you know, whatever, man. You want to talk music stuff? You know, you're going to give me another guitar solo that I don't know how to play. That'd be great. And he sat me down and he was just like...
And he gave you a nicotine patch. He gave you a patch.
You're right. He's like, here's some gum. You stink. But he did. He was just like, hey, dude, I saw you smoking, right? And I want you to know, like, I don't hate you. I'm not mad at you. He's like, but dude, that's not the life God has for you. He's like, especially if you're looking to be like a leader in the church, which right now you are. Like I was serving with the teens and I was playing on Sundays. And he's like, that's just not the life God has called you to live. And if you're being a light for Jesus, he's like, be a light and not hide things in the dark. And I was like, dang, man, that hit hard.
Yeah.
But it was that moment of like, he loved me and accepted me, but didn't keep me where I was at. He was loving me to be better.
It's loving. It's being truthful.
Yes.
And loving at the same time.
Right.
And I think sometimes loving is just showing grace, and sometimes loving is trying to is confronting in a way that would help somebody grow. You just sort of have to know the right timing.
Yes. Yep. And that brings me into another topic of conversation of something you had said earlier. You know, one of the hardest parts of what we do, in my opinion, and this is something that I don't feel like they teach enough in school, is that I think what we do is so much more of interacting and leading and counseling people than it actually has to do with music. And you had made a comment earlier, and I'll let you decide if you want to share it or not. But what does that look like for you in your ministry when it comes to like, you know, you and I are very similar in the way of like, we love music. We love the creative aspect of it. We love the art of it. And that is a piece of what we do, but so much of it comes back to people and knowing people. And had I not had the relationship I had with Mark Tinney at the time, somebody else coming to me and having that conversation about the cigarette, I would have pushed them away.
Yeah.
But he felt like he had built enough of a relationship with me to lovingly sit me down and have that trust of like, I actually care about you. I'm not just saying this because I want the church to look good. I care about you. So what does that look like for you in your ministry when it comes to working with people?
So at the beginning, this is terrible, but people were just sort of an ends to what I wanted to accomplish in my creativity. If you sang really well, I'm like, I could see how you could fit here. Or if you played this, oh my gosh, we could do this song. And it wasn't like to make me famous. I don't. It was just and it's still in me. Like I want things to be super excellent. Like and when you're in the middle of it, I guess the part that's for me is it's sort of euphoric but it's not about me like being like, wow, Brian, you did great. But it's more like that just makes me feel awesome. Yeah. So people were more of like I just sort of tried to control them. And it wasn't so much about relationship. I mean, if we became friends or whatever, that sounds so shallow. It's not 100% true. Right. But I think even I remember getting ordained and then my title was worship pastor. And I'm like, I don't like being a pastor. I'm not really a pastor, but it's nice. I get a tax break. It's terrible.
But we're human. We're real. Yeah. It's all good.
So it wasn't until later, and especially just like being around my coworkers like Jim Ballinger and Eric, and seeing their lives and Tevis. And seeing them being real pastors to people. And so God just convicted my heart because it was always production first, people second. Right. And I think it was subconscious until like, you know how you start examining and seeing, like you start examining your motives. Right. And I was like, ugh. And like, I didn't like that. That was ugly. I think it's gross. I'm embarrassed to even say it, but I think there's been a big shift, and there's so much more joy now when it's people first, and it's being Mark Tenney, it's being Cheryl Simpson.
Gosh, talk about a saint.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? And it's like. And it's my dad. My dad has always been that. Like it's like, how can I help you? Not like, how can you help me? Right. And I think it's just changed. It's been so different the last 10 years. And I wish I would have done that. Like, why did it take me 20 years to figure that out? Right. I don't know. So
well, and I know one thing. This is why what we do gets really hard, because I know that to an extent, because what we've been hired to do is create a worship experience that is excellent. You know, they don't just hire us to be like, yeah, go do whatever you want. I don't care if it sucks or not. Right. Like what we've been hired to do is excellence. And so it is hard to find that balance of like, all right, I want to love you and just be your buddy and, you know, just hang out and talk. It's like, but you're here to rehearse. And if you don't know your part, like, what the heck are you doing, dude? And so I get it. You know, there's this level of excellence that should be brought. And one thing that it took me a long time, and I feel like I finally am starting to be better to articulate it to our team, especially, is that that excellence is a value that we have in our ministry, but we clarify it with not excellence for excellence sake. You know, we want to be excellent because of who we're doing this for. You know, we are literally bringing worship to the creator of the universe. And it literally is biblical. Bring your first and bring your best. And nothing else should be brought. And so that's what, anytime I tell our team, you know, you do this long enough and you know when somebody came in without listening to the songs ahead of time. It's pretty easy to tell. Like, I don't care how many 4 on the floors you can play on the drums, it's not the part. But, you know, so having that loving conversation, and again, building that relationship with your team and being able to say like, listen, we value excellence, not because we want to be the best sounding band in the world, but we want to bring the sweetest offering that we can to the Lord. But it's hard to find that, especially when you're first starting out, and especially when you have a successful ministry, like when a church is blowing up.
Right.
It's like, I can't screw this up.
Right.
I don't want to be a reason that people leave the church. And so I get that, dude.
Yeah.
I get that. And it's just the beauty of, one of the reasons I love the whole theology of sanctification in the church is like God is continually working on us, and we're always getting worked on. We can always be better.
Yeah, that's good.
And
yeah.
I don't know, man. Well, we got about time for one more question, if
Okay.
you're okay with it. And I did preface this a little bit, and you may have answered it already. But something I've been pondering a lot in my ministry lately is it'll be 12 years in August that I've been doing this full time. And I've been looking back over the past 12 years and looking at, all of my failures and all of the, just the seasons of life that we've been through, the different churches we've been through, and how much they have taught me. And I wish that there were days I could go back to my very first day in full-time setting up my office at Grove City. And I wish I could sit that little punk down and tell him a lot of things. If there was one thing that you could go back to your day one self and either warn or give advice to or encourage, what would that be?
Oh, it would be listen more and love more. I get an idea in my head, and I'm sure it's pride and arrogance. I think back then, and I didn't know it. I think it was probably masked because I felt so insecure, and so instead of me feeling like an imposter, I'd go 100% the other way, like I'm
right,
and but it's to cover up, and so I would say, like, yeah, you don't know it all. It's good. Listen to people and love them first.
Yeah.
And
That's good, man.
Yeah.
That's good. No, I think it's important, especially for younger people. I don't know what it is. Well, I do know what it is because I was there at one point. We go in thinking, I got hired here. I must know. They must know that I know a lot.
Yeah.
And
well, and Zack, I felt like, oh gosh, this is the arrogance coming out. Like, I felt like I was overqualified for a Nazarene church.
Right.
All right. So here I am. I'm teaching at a college.
Right.
I've got my master's degree, and
yeah.
And so therefore I felt like I was qualified to sort of know it all.
Right.
That's terrible.
Right.
Like, I'm surprised there are still people who are in this, like, that are in the band still, like, that have grown up with me. We've got a lot of different people, obviously, but I'm like, they are saints for sticking around with me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. But also, like, even through our failures, it's amazing how the Lord works all that out, though. It's funny. It sounds so stupid, but I've been saying it more than I ever have in my life. It's like, it's almost like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And when I look at, we're actually just going through a new series right now called Lessons from the Legends. And so every week the whole staff is taking turns on Sundays preaching on just a random legend from the Bible. And the more we're talking about these legends, quote unquote, it's so funny to me how God picks, like, the most unlikely and screwed up of people to then eventually become a legend. So I'm preaching on Jonah, and we all know the story of Jonah and the whale, and it's like, God picked that guy on purpose.
Yeah.
Like, he picked him knowing ahead of time that Jonah was going to not listen to what he said.
Yeah.
And he had a plan for that. And so to me, that's such an encouragement that God can use normal screw-ups like you and I, right? That even in the midst of our failure, there's grace, there's mercy, and I feel like he bestows extra grace upon the people that we work with that, sometimes we've said stuff because we're human that have hurt people. We've done stuff because we're human that have either burned people out or stressed them out. And the Lord allows that grace even through the people that we work with.
Yeah.
That's just what I love about the Lord, man. He uses just normal people to do extraordinary things. And that's why I think you're doing extraordinary things, man.
Thanks, man.
I love what you do.
A game changer was when we decided to meet, when we meet for practice. Actually, the first half hour to 40 minutes is just prayer and devotion, which, like, really, like, I didn't do that at the beginning, you know what I mean? And so that, and a lot of times it was just all like work, right? So we come in on Saturday morning, we do our stuff. You guys, let's do this, and it was fun.
Yep.
And then Sunday morning, you don't really have a lot of time to talk or whatever. And doing this devotional thing, it's like we got to know each other a lot faster. Like it might take me a year to actually know this new guitar player,
right?
But now it's like, okay, it takes about a month or two, and there's this cohesiveness
100%.
and this unity, and we're cheering each other on. It's just good.
Yep.
So
I will say, so that's something that when I got hired on, Rob was really focusing on that. Like that was one of the things he told me before I even took the job. He's like, we're going to be a church of prayer. And I'm like, well, duh, we're all churches of prayer. He's like, no, I mean like we're actually going to do it. And so like we adjusted our schedule to where we come earlier so that we have time to pray before church. We changed our rehearsal schedule so that we do more prayer time.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because it's like on paper, it's like, duh. Yeah.
Right.
Like, oh, you're a church, you should pray. But when you get in and you're doing this stuff and it's like, dude, we have this new song and the arrangement's bonkers. We have to focus on this song. But what I realize, and I'm sure you're experiencing now, is like the Lord has blessed and worked with our people on the outside of Sunday morning stuff because of that prayer time.
Yeah.
It's like he's continued to say like, you focus on me, I'll put the pieces together.
Yeah.
So that's really cool to hear that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Well, my friend, I think it's about time we wrap this puppy up.
It's time to hit the button.
I think it's time to hit the button. I know this is the part I always get excited and nervous for. But dude, seriously, thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
So
Thanks, Zack, for asking me.
And if you are in the Newark area, go to Newark Naz, dude. I can tell you, I've been there. It is one of the reasons I can sit here and do what I do today. And so if you're in the Newark area and you're looking for a church, check out Newark Naz. If anything, I know the music's going to be fantastic and it's going to be authentic, but I know the rest of the staff is amazing. Preaching's going to be legit. And so check it out, man. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Brian, seriously, thanks so much for coming on. I know drove all the way up here to just sit here and yak with me, so I appreciate you.
Great, man.
Dude, I've loved having you.
Thanks.
But man, maybe you are in the Newark area. Maybe you are looking for a church somewhere and you're just looking for suggestions. Hit us up at podcast@shepnaz.org. We are not just about bringing people to Shepherd. We want our church to grow, but we are more focused on building the kingdom. We want to see the kingdom get big, and we want to see heaven full.
Yep.
So if you have any questions, suggestions for interviews you want to hear, reach out to us. We hope you have a great day. We love you.
This podcast is a production of the Shepherd Church of the Nazarene, Gahanna, Ohio. Email to podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know what you think.